Okay, let's dive in. We've got quite a stack of sources you shared with us,
Yeah.
all pointing towards, well, a really key film from a director who usually associate with just one city, right?
Absolutely. Woody Allen.
Exactly. We're going deep today, looking specifically at Vicky Cristina Barcelona.
That's right. And our mission here, based on all this material you sent over, is to really unpack why. Why does this film stand out so much? What makes it significant? Not just, in his huge body of work, but maybe as a real turning point.
Yeah, that's the key question the sources seem to be asking. How did this filmmaker, I mean, someone so completely rooted in New York City, its vibe, its neuroses, how did he find such a fresh angle, maybe even new inspiration, just by shifting his camera to Barcelona?
It's a great question. Let's get into it.
Okay.
So the material we have really paints Allen as, well, a unique voice. Decades of filmmaking.
Over 50 films, unbelievable.
Always exploring those human complexities. That classic Allen mix, the angst, the irony, bit of melancholy. And the sources argue his place in film history is pretty secure, partly because he just keeps working, but also, crucially, he found ways to kind of evolve while still focusing on his main obsessions.
And Vicky Cristina Barcelona seems to be based on these notes, where he really found a whole new canvas. It wasn't just a holiday movie.
No, not at all.
By 2008, Allen was already, some of the sources call it an aesthetic exile in Europe.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Partly funding shifts in the U.S., sure, but also maybe a creative need for something new. He'd already done Match Point in London, which worked out well.
Right, tested the waters.
Exactly. And the Barcelona project, initially, yeah, there were ties to city funding, tourism promotion, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But the sources really emphasized that Allen delivered something much, much richer than just a travelogue. He created this complex study of relationships, emotional conflict,
Right.
all set against this incredibly vibrant sensory backdrop of Barcelona.
So let's set the scene a bit from the film itself. We've got two American women, right? Vicky and Cristina.
Right. Vicky's looking for stability. Christina's more impulsive, artistic.
They're spending the summer there.
Yeah.
And they get tangled up with Juan Antonio, this charismatic painter.
Played by Javier Bardem.
Yes. And his intensely passionate, very volatile artist ex-wife, Maria Elena.
Penélope Cruz, in that role. And what seems like maybe a simple premise, it just explodes, really. It becomes this fascinating look at desire, its limits, and how dissatisfaction kind of fuels everything, connection, disconnection. The sources spent a lot of time on that theme. It's not just finding desire, but how desire itself keeps generating uncertainty, frustration.
Right, because nobody really finds stable satisfaction, do they? Not in the way they expect. Cristina gets bored even when she gets exactly what she thought she wanted.
Yeah.
Vicky starts doubting her whole stable life plan when she's confronted with this raw passion.
And Maria Elena is just consumed by this intensity that's always like bordering on chaos. Love in this film, as the sources describe it, it's an emotional battlefield, basically.
Yeah, that feels right. And visually, wow, it is a world away from Manhattan.
Oh, completely.
The sources really stress how Allen uses Barcelona's energy, the Gaudi architecture, the light, the colors.
The city isn't just pretty scenery. It's almost like another character, influencing the mood, the themes, that cinematography, all those warm golden tones. It might be one of his most visually rich films. You can almost feel the Spanish wine, the music, the art, that light.
And stylistically, the structure, it feels very Allen. Less rigid plot, more episodic.
Yeah, flowing.
Driven by dialogue that sounds incredibly natural, almost improvised sometimes. It gives the actors room.
And the material notes how well he contrasts the Spanish characters, more expressive, emotional, with the Americans who are maybe more reserved or rational. It creates this real, existential tension.
So wrapping up, what's the big takeaway from the sources on this film's impact?
They pretty much call it Woody Allen's European rebirth. Proof he could find new muses, new atmospheres, new stories, way outside his usual New York comfort zone.
And it put a huge spotlight on international talent, too. Penelope Cruz as Maria Elena. I mean, the sources highlight the massive critical acclaim she got.
She won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress for it.
Right. And Allen's always been known for directing great actresses, but this really showed his ability to get these stunning, complex performances from actors maybe less familiar to Hollywood audiences then.
Absolutely. And finally, the film just offers this very contemporary look at modern love, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The sources point out how it explores all these relationship complexities, the dissatisfaction, without judging anyone. There's no clear right or wrong.
No easy answer.
Exactly. Love is shown as this constantly shifting thing where our ideals just slam into the messy reality of emotions and desires. It feels relevant because it doesn't try to simplify it.
Which kind of leads us perfectly into the final thought from the material we looked at. Vicky Cristina Barcelona, the sources seem to suggest, reflects this idea that maybe human life isn't meant to be neatly resolved or permanently satisfied.
Yeah, maybe it's just meant to be experienced. Chaos and all.
That definitely raises an important question for all of us, I think.
What does that idea actually mean for how we think about desire, about satisfaction, in our own lives? Something to chew on after this deep dive into the sources.